What is going on, everybody? So today I'm in a teaching mood. So I am going to teach you why your funnels are failing and how branding is actually going to fix this problem. And so we're going to dive into how to recalibrate your branding so that it could so that you can align your messaging and image to attract the clients that you want. So let's dive in and get this party started, shall we? So, like I mentioned before, today's training, we're going live. We're going to give this a shot. It could be a total disaster. It could be totally awesome. At the end of the day, I want to help you guys get the clarity and focus you need to start attracting the right clients. The biggest problem I see a lot of my Brand Accelerator clients going through is they're putting out their product or service. They're trying to build their online presence, but it's attracting the wrong people that can't afford them, tire kickers, window shoppers, you name it. So I'm going to help you get some better clarity on branding and how that's going to help your funnels long-term attract the right people. Okay. So my belief, and you've probably heard me say this many, many times over, but the quality of your brand will determine the quality of your clients, and the quality of your clients will determine the quality of your life. So our promise here at Unique Designz and as the brand doctor is to help experts, personal brands in their industry grow and become more innovative by helping them understand their ideal customers so that they can connect with them in a genuine and relatable way. My team and I are in the business of making other businesses look good, appear more valuable, and communicate more clearly. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs that have tried the cheaper way of building their brands out to find out that it didn't work, and they end up back working with us again after spending tons of time, money, and energy on wasted efforts. Okay, so some of the clients that we served in the past, you guys probably heard me talk about this, but Russell Brunson, we worked with his team in ClickFunnels for 2.5 years, helping them get to that $100 million mark. Fabio Viviani, celebrity chef, owns over 125 restaurants, was on Top Chef. Awesome dude. Brandon Copeland used to play for the New York Jets. Now he plays for the New England Patriots, has some really awesome stuff going on with his businesses aside from the NFL career that he has. And who else but John Bon Jovi helping him build his businesses a few years back. Man, it would blow your mind how many ventures this guy has that a lot of people don't know about. And so they brought me on to really help them with the fan club and really help him get some exposure to some of those other ventures that he has. So scaling from 6 to 7 figures was not easy for me. It wasn't. There was a lot of mistakes I've made over the past 14 years. One was my own branding. One was my own messaging. And so there was many iterations of building my brand out and to getting it to where it's at today, where it's really dialed in and focused on a very specific client. We'll get into that in a second, but basically what helped me scale from 6 to 7 figures, probably after the 6th year of business, was coming up with the mindset of, I don't need to know how to do all of this stuff inside of my business. I need to figure out who can do the specifics inside of my business to help me get to that 7-figure mark. And so when you finally come to that epiphany that you're only one person, how can I understand and know how to do everything inside of my business to make it successful? One of my mentors said to me one day when I was struggling with this, he said, Henry, do you think a conductor of an orchestra knows how to play every instrument? Some do, but the majority of them don't. They know how to conduct, and they leave the people that play the instruments up to them to create the sound that they want to produce. So you think about yourself as a conductor, not the one that has to play or learn how to play every instrument or know how to do everything inside of your business. So before we get started, I have some questions for you, okay? Number one, does your brand truly represent the value that you deliver? Okay. I know a lot of entrepreneurs out there that have great products or services, but they struggle because their online presence just doesn't represent the value that they deliver. And it's frustrating because I've been there too. I know what that feels like. It sucks. Number two, does your online presence, so your website, your funnel, social media identity, attract and convert the right clients into paying customers at a level that you're proud of? You may be getting some leads, you may be getting some trickle-in sales, but are you at a comfortable level or a proud level for you to say, you know what, I'm good. Like, I have to turn away clients now because that's how much leads are coming in and that's how busy we are. Question number three, on a scale from 1 to 10, and be honest with yourself, because if you're not honest with yourself, none of this makes sense and none of this will matter. How proud are you of your brand's online presence? Right? That's a tough one. That's a tough one to swallow, but ask yourself and truly answer that question. And I'm going to help you get through this and break through. So if you want your personal brand and online presence to generate qualified leads, okay, there's a big difference. Systematically convert those leads into paying clients, grow your influence and impact on social media, crystallize your messaging to attract the right clients, becoming the obvious choice in your industry, and truly representing the value that your business delivers. This video training is going to help you do just that. It's going to help you represent your true value, both visually and through your messaging. It's going to help you understand your ideal clients better than they understand themselves. Super, super important here. Why branding is the foundation of your funnels, and how to transform your funnel from amateur and spammy to polished and professional. Okay, so let's get this straight and let's get this understood right out of the gate. Your ideal clients need you, and you know that. And when you have your branding, create that precision, crafted messaging coupled with beautifully thoughtful design that sounds, looks, and feels like you, they'll know you're the perfect match for them. Okay, that's something that we need to understand from the beginning. Okay, most experts in personal brands, even celebrities. I went on a few of the biggest musicians on the planet. I've done some research and looked at some of their personal brand websites, and they're freaking god awful. And it blows my mind that that's the case. So they have a hard time creating a reputable and memorable online presence. I'm emphasizing reputable and memorable, because if you're easily forgotten, you have a big branding problem. Okay. So they may be delivering incredible results to their clients, but their online presence looks cheap and amateur. And so look at this background right here. This is not by mistake. You don't know how many personal brand sites I go to or websites that I go to where they're using imagery that's pixelated and so off-brand, it doesn't resonate, it doesn't connect. And just the overall quality of their online presence is awful. So I want to show you by example that this is not a good look, especially if you're attracting or wanting to attract a higher quality client. Okay, so their online image doesn't match their results. And that's the big problem that we need to solve here. And that's how branding is going to help you do this. So you waste a ton of time, money, and energy trying to Franken brand their business. Okay, what do I mean by that? So they hire all types of different designers, developers, social media experts, and nothing ever seems to exceed your expectations. This actually happened with Russell Brunson when we first started to work together. He said to me, Henry, I got 6 designers on my payroll right now, and every time I put in an order, it comes back 6 different looks, right? And nobody's on the same page. And it's extremely frustrating because if I want to take this business to the next level, I need it to look polished, professional, consistent, cohesive with everything that's going on. So that was one of the big reasons why we came in, to really help wrangle everything in and really start to build that strong foundation. And now look at where ClickFunnels is today. It's insane, right? So because of a strong foundation of discovery and strategy has yet to be established, that's why we're frustrated and we're struggling, because we haven't done the groundwork. So real quick, where did I get the Brand Doctor name from? It's funny. I was sitting in Frank Kern's inner circle, and there was this guy. I used to call him the mystery mentor because I never really got to see him and meet him for like 3 months. We just chatted online and there was no pictures of him whatsoever. So I called him my mystery mentor, but he was asking me a lot of great questions. And he asked me one day, like, Henry, what's your process? And I told him, I said, first, I like to diagnose and discover what the issues are, for my client. Then we plan and strategize what needs to be done. And then we actually apply that plan and strategy and build it all out for them. So he's like, oh, you're kind of like a doctor. And I said, yeah. He's like, so you're like the Brand Doctor. And that was it. I ran with that name, and here we are today. But this is a quick little 30,000 foot view of my process and how I work with clients. And so today I want to specifically talk about how to recalibrate your brand, kind of take a step back, slow down a second, and begin to attract higher quality clients. Okay. So let's start with you. Let's start with who you are first. Okay. So here's a few questions for you. Let's get fun with us, right? You could drop them in the comments if you want. But what famous person or fictional character would you choose to be your company's mascot or spokesperson, and why? Okay. If you don't have a notebook out or a Google Doc out, maybe pop one of those open and start to take some notes, because I think these questions are really going to help you dial in. Okay. So what famous person or fictional character would you choose to be your company's mascot or spokesperson, and why? Okay. If your brand were a movie, what category would it be in, and why? Okay. If your brand was a person at a cocktail party, how would others describe this person? So outside of your category, right, what brands or products do you feel is most aligned with your company, and why? Okay. Now, what is your mission? What's your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? See, people buy that first. Then they buy your product or service. People buy you before they buy your product or service. Okay. So if you hear me on podcasts or you hear me on social media, you're going to hear my backstory over and over and over again. It's basically why I'm doing what I'm doing. I believe that the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. And I went to a high school that I saw tremendous talent. And a lot of my fellow students didn't do anything with that. And it hurts my heart to see them still struggling. Like, I've been out of high school for 20 years, right? So I have this passion to help people, and I always did. My backstory goes back. I'm not going to get into that today, but you could look on my website and you could get part 1 and part 2 of that story. But growing up, it wasn't easy. And I said to myself, I'm here on borrowed time, and I'm going to make the best of it. And I'm going to help as many people as I can. And through this God-gifted talent of design and eye for design and communication, God blessed me with the ability to speak to people. And you know what's crazy? There's a lot of people out there that do not know how to communicate with people. Look at the divorce rate. Look at how many businesses go under because they can't communicate properly with their team or with their audience. So I'm blessed to have these capabilities, and I want to share them with you before I leave this earth physically. So this is, it's a little snapshot of my why. Now, what's your vision? How are you going to do this? Well, I just happen to do this through brand development, brand strategy, design, funnel builds, funnel architecture, and social media presence. These are the things that I focus on to help my clients build a profitable and reputable brand. So how I do it? Well, it's through the branding and design process. Okay. And what do you strongly believe in? There's a lot of people playing the middle and playing it safe because they're afraid of what other people are going to say about them. And that's a really hard place to stay. Why? Because I've been there, I've done that, and I've known that it brings you zero results, right? I grew up a very unconfident person. I did. There were so many things going on in my life at an early age where I just didn't know my place. I didn't know what I wanted to be, who I wanted to become, until I got older. And I started to realize, like, bro, you got one life. So what are you going to do with it? Are you going to waste it trying to please everybody, including my parents and my family members? Or are you going to do what you love to do? And you're going to spread your wings and do your thing. Yeah, you're going to fall down. Yeah, you're going to make mistakes. Yeah, you're going to fail more than you're probably going to succeed. But those lessons along the way are going to make you who you are. And so what I believe in is we all need to design the life that we want, not the lives that other people want us to be. And that's going to be my next 40 years of life. I turned 40 a couple of weeks ago, and that was the one thing people were asking me, like, what's the biggest lesson you learned in 40 years? And it's that right there. Had I listened to my father and have him continue to say, Henry, well, what if you get too busy? What are you going to do? How are you going to handle it? Blah, blah. I would have played it safe and played it scared. But no, I just kept rocking. And I said, I'm going to figure this out. And I'll be honest with you, my next 40 years is not going to be like my previous 40 years. I'm going to design the life that I want to live until I take my last breath. And that's what I truly believe in. And I will do that until I die. Right? So let's take a step back for a second. And here's a question for you. Who are the top 5 influencers in your industry? Okay. So for me, here's a few. Russell Brunson, Chris Do, obviously Gary Vaynerchuk, love him or hate him. Blair Enns, and Ty Montague, big dude in the branding space. Okay. The reason why I asked this question is because success leaves clues, obviously. And I want you to pay attention and keep a pulse on what they're doing. So join their email lists, right? Follow them on social media. Look at what they're paying attention to. Look at what they're selling. Look at what they're not selling. Look at what they're not saying. And start to pay attention. Okay? Who has made a personal impact on your life? So I'm going to share you mine, right? My wife, my beautiful wife. She's made a tremendous impact on my life. Talk about helping someone level up to a different standard. It's funny. I'll tell you a quick little story. So we've had the complete opposite upbringings. So I grew up a very humble. I was not poor by any means, but I had the bare basics. My father worked 4 jobs to raise me by himself. Okay. So I had we used to get my clothes from Canal Street in New York City, Chinatown. That's where I would go. And I get the bootleg Nautica sweatshirts. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you know, if you grew up in Jersey or New York, you know. But my wife grew up a very privileged upbringing, very privileged. Right. And so, but it was all taken when the economic crisis hit in 2008. Right. So things shifted for her personally at that time. Family started to struggle and man, almost lost it all. And they had to restructure and build back everything that they lost. So The reason why I tell this story is because there was many, many years of my life that I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I was good enough. And my wife really came into my life at the right time. I was just starting my business, and she was like, Henry, you are so talented. Like, you need to get out there and give it. Give it your best, give it your all, share. Right? Russell Brunson told me this too when I started working with him. Right? Nas the rapper. I started listening to his music when I was 13 years old. I used to take public transit to the middle school that I went to, and I would listen to Illmatic, his first album. And he would tell these stories about growing up in the streets and how he persevered. And he's 6 years older than me, I think. And so, the stories that he told in his music were so inspiring. It really motivated me as a person. And I saw the way he was growing up, and I saw how his environment really molded him to the person that he is today. And I wanted to be like that. I wanted to break through. I wanted to become something. I didn't want my environment or my past to dictate my future. And Nas did that. And that's why I look up to him. Christel is another guy who came into my life 3 years ago, owns a multi-million-dollar design firm, transitioned into teaching and consulting and mentoring, and went through a lot of the trials and tribulations that I was going through. And I paid him hefty amounts of money over the past 3 years, he'll tell you, for his consulting and wisdom to help me get through a lot of the tough times that I was going through in my business. And again, Russell Brunson introduced me to ClickFunnels, introduced me to entrepreneurship at another level. Because back when I met him, this probably 6 years ago, right? It was right when ClickFunnels started. I thought I knew everything about business, and I didn't know jack. And when I met Russell, he sort of, tapped me on the shoulder, and he says, if you want to break through to the next level, you need to replace yourself and you need to be coached. And I think he helped me become very, very coachable so that I could get to that 7-figure mark, which he helped me do. So I want to ask you, who are the 4 or 5 people that made a personal impact in your life? And take note of this and write it down. Okay. So what I do here, okay, this slide here is basically taking all of the great attributes of those 4 people that I just mentioned and infusing that into me. So action takers, big thinkers, they're very persistent. They're very methodical. So you may disagree or agree with this, but some are very, very humble. I know Nas. I watched a little documentary on Nas not too long ago on Netflix, and man, he's probably one of the most humble people I've ever been able to learn about. And this guy has made millions and millions of dollars with his talents. Gary Vaynerchuk, very optimistic dude, right? Very transparent guy. A lot of the folks, Blair Enns, very, very transparent, wrote 2 great books, right? Ty wrote a great book about branding, and he was very transparent in that book. So taking all of the great attributes of the people that made a personal impact in my life and infusing it into my branding, it makes me this Voltron type of person. I don't know, some of you guys may be too young to understand what Voltron is, but taking these attributes and taking the bits and pieces that I love from these people and creating and start to use them in my life has made massive, massive shifts in my business and in my personal life. Okay. So now that we've sort of unpacked who we are, I want to dive into who your ideal client is. Now, I go much, much deeper in detail in the Brand Accelerator program about who your ideal client is, but I want to give you some high level stuff and some different stuff that I teach to make sure that you get a better understanding of who your client is. Now, I'm a practitioner. I practice what I preach. I do what I tell all my clients to do. And so I brought myself through this process, and it was tedious and it was time consuming, but man, has it gave me the crystal clarity and focus that I need to really understand who it is that I want to serve. So this is a quick little snapshot of one of my ideal clients. Okay. This is Steve McCoach, and he's the undervalued coach. Okay. And these are some of the things that he says to himself, maybe subconsciously, not consciously, but he's the undervalued business consultant. Okay. I struggle with my online presence and growing my business online. I want to help. Oh, I should say, I want help with creating a sales funnel to help me generate more leads and sales. And I should put here, impact more people. Right? Therefore, I need to be known as a subject matter expert in my industry, or I risk obscurity and no one knowing who I am. Okay. So this is what Steve McCoach is struggling with on a daily basis, whether it be consciously or subconsciously. But I'm dialed into this now. So I know the type of messaging and imagery that needs to go out to help this person. Okay. Here's another client, right? I love putting together these imagery boards because I really get a better snapshot of who this person that I really want to help looks like, feels like, acts like, loves, hates, things like that, right? So here's John Frazier, the underappreciated digital marketer. I am an underappreciated digital marketer. I struggled with being perceived as credible and authoritative. I want to have a brand that truly represents the value that I deliver. Therefore, I need to have confidence and pride in my business, or I risk missed opportunities, professional embarrassment, or I become perceived as a scam. Right? And that's one of the big issues that I'm seeing with ClickFunnels users is that they're using these templates, or they're going the cheap route and getting these cheap funnel builders to design their funnels or build their funnels. And then when they ask me, can you review my funnel? Would you buy out off of this funnel? And they say no. Well, there's your issue. Okay. So the perception of value needs to be at a level that if you were to say to yourself, would I buy this? Would I trust this brand? Would I go through this funnel? And the answer is no. Well, we got a branding problem. Okay. Here's one other potential client of mine. Okay. And this is Kevin Blizak. I don't know where I came up with these names, but I was having fun with it. You got to have fun with this, guys. Otherwise, it's going to be a chore. Right. But he's the hungry and motivated business owner. And this is what he's saying to himself. I'm a crunched for time, 6-figure plus small business owner. I struggle with not having a steady source of qualified leads. Seems to be everybody's problem. I want a systematic way of generating more leads into my pipeline. I know the solution for that maybe could be funnels, right? Therefore, I need the clarity and focus, right? Because a 6-figure plus small business owner is spread very thin. Or I risk being outmarketed by my competitors and potentially going out of business. I mean, that's the reality, and that's the truth. Okay. So what are some brand affinities for your business? Let's talk about that for a second. Okay. So these are some of the brand affinities that if you were to ask me, how would my business align, or how would my brand identity and message and look and feel associate with? Well, I love Rolex. I love Nike. I love celebrity cruises because they're on a whole nother level. We went on a celebrity edge last year. We went to Spain, Italy, and France. It was the most ridiculous trip I've ever been on. And the boat was the first $1 billion boat. It was stunning. Right. So they're at a whole nother level. Right. Apple, Land Rover. I love Land Rover. I love those trucks. Right. And Mercedes-Benz. I love their pursuit of greatness and nothing but the best, or the best or nothing. I forget what their tagline is, but that resonates with me. That resonates with me. So these are the brand affinities that I would associate, with my business and how I feel about it. So how do you want your audience to perceive you? So if you were to ask me this, these are some of the ways. Okay. So premium, exclusive. I don't like to work with everybody anymore. I've been doing this for 14 years. I could afford not to work with people now, and I want to work with great fits. That's the bottom line. So I want to be perceived as exclusive. Right now, we only work with about 15 clients a year, and it delivers a great business. Okay. Reliable. I want people to feel that when I start to work with them, like we're going to war. And when we jump into that foxhole together, I want them to know that they're going to come out safe because they're with me. Right? Authentic. I'm going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly. Right? And I share a lot. I put a lot out there. I was thinking that today on the way back from the gym. I was like, man, you put a lot out there, good and bad. But you know what? I want people to know me as me. That's it. Bottom line. I'm not going to, it doesn't do you a service by me holding back some of the biggest lessons of my life, both professionally and personally, right? Outspoken. You guys know that I like to talk. So I'm going to be outspoken. Maybe that's that Jersey upbringing, but I'm going to tell you how it is. You might not like it, but it's the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts, but the truth sets you free. Right? I'm going to be direct with you. I'm not going to hide anything. I'm not going to pull any sharp punch or, sneak punches. Like, this is it. This is the reason why. And then courageous. One of my mentors said this to me the other day. He said, Henry, I've teach and coach a lot of people over the years. I've never met someone so courageous as you. I mean, I tell you to do something. It's like, before I even get the words out of my mouth, you're like planning the execution of it. And so that takes a lot of courage. And like, I want you to know that. And that like made an impression on me. I said, man, I never thought of myself as courageous, but man, being in business for 14 years, you gotta create that thick skin. You gotta be able to get up after getting punted in the face 15 times and get back up, brush yourself off, and keep going. So how do you need to sound to your audience? Okay. Again, I'm using myself as an example here. So I want to sound empathetic. I want people to feel that I understand where they're coming from. I want to sound direct. People have hired me in the past and said, Henry, the reason why I hired you is because you give it to me straight. You're not going to sugarcoat it. You're not going to BS me. Whether I like it or not, you're going to give it to me straight. Authentic. Again, I'm not going to hide anything here. It is what it is. You get what you see. I want to sound guided, right? I want to point people in the right direction. I don't want to be a dictator. I don't want to say, this is what you have to do without doing a thorough diagnosis. I want to guide you in the right direction. I have had many, many mentors in the past that tried to dictate what to do. And I didn't get much out of that training. I didn't get much out of that consulting, but guys like Chris Doe that helped me through guided and pointed questions, guide me in the right direction. Man, I get through things so much easier, so much faster. And like the lesson, like it gets ingrained. You know what I mean? I want to come across friendly, a heavily tattooed guy from New Jersey, bald, I could come across a little rough around the edge, but I generally, once you get to know me, I want to come across friendly. And that's why I put so much out there on social media, because I want people to understand, my personality, because what you see may not necessarily be exactly what you get from a 3-second, snapshot of me. Right. So I want to dive deeper into that and express my friendliness. And thought-provoking. I've asked you some very thought-provoking questions during this training. So I want to challenge your assumptions. I'm not going to go with everything that you suggest, right? You may not go with everything that I suggest, but I want you to start thinking differently about branding, about your business, about maybe your personal life, who knows? But I'm going to be thought-provoking. Okay. What do you want your colors and brand to represent? So this is my color palette, right? So purple represents elegant and luxury. Pink, and obviously I'm in the creative industry, so pink represents creativeness, right? White, we use a lot of white. Negative space represents pure and fresh. And I'm always going to try to come at you in a sleek way. And I want you to develop a sleek perception of your brand. That silver color is really a great representation of that, right? And this is if you want the same, right? Now, what typography would your ideal client resonate with the most? Again, this is the one thing that I want to point out. It's not about you. It's not about you liking the color purple, you liking the color blue. It's about your clients resonating with that color. And if those are the clients that you're looking to attract, then the typography, the color scheme, right, the look, feel, all of that needs to resonate with your ideal clients. Okay, so these are the typesets that resonate the most with Unique Designz: modern, bold, and elegant. Right, and I put a little note here. I would suggest choosing no more than 2 fonts for your branding. I see these funnels out there. They have 7 different colors, 7 different font selections, and it's just a complete mess. And they wonder why, conversions are sucking and they're not, and they're getting these tire kicker types of clients and these low budget clients, is because you might be looking low budget. Okay. So creating your brand's identity. I'm going to get into a quick little case study here, right? And the process that I take my clients through, once we get through the diagnosis and the discovery of the strategy of your brand, we get into the identity. So this was a client that we just finished up when we launched taxcreditexperts.com, and they came to us with this idea, and they didn't even have a name. So we had to bring it all together. So once we go through the thorough diagnosis and discovery, now I can start directing the brand's identity. So this is called the Stylescape process. And what we do is we come up with 3 different design directions based on the findings and insights through the discovery program, right? We start to direct the guide, and then I sit down with the client and we basically tear it apart. Okay. What do we like from here? What do we like from there? And then we start to dial it in and focus it in. So this was the final Stylescape. So we went with these colors. We went with these. So I start teasing some logo design concepts there. So you'll see it there. Typography, all these types of stuff. So now we have a better direction on where to go. Okay. Now we get into the logo design. So these were some of the concepts that we created, and this was the actual final design that we created for them. But what I like to do during this process is show the application. I'm not just going to show you a logo on a white or black background and say, choose one. You're going to get that low quality from 99 Designs and Fiverr. They're going to skip this process. I want to show you how the design is going to look in real life, so you get a better understanding of, oh man, look at the way this looks on large format. Look at the way that it looks on a website, things like that, right? So this was the logo design that was finalized and approved. And then we went into social media identity. So we started to develop their identity across all platforms. So this was Twitter, this is YouTube. I think that's LinkedIn. I'm not sure. But that is the next step of the process, is really creating that identity online across all platforms. So no matter where they go, you look super consistent, right? This was the website design that we created. And then we created a sales funnel, right? It's blacked out, but there was a whole VSL there that we helped craft for them, and it came out really, really cool. Right? So that is the fundamentals of branding, and how branding is going to help you increase your funnel conversion. It's really going to level up the look and the feel of what it is that you want your funnel to do and represent for you when it's out there on social media, when it's out there online. We really need to pay attention to the fundamentals of branding and how that's going to really craft the perception in your audience's mind. If you come across spammy and unprofessional, you're going to attract much of the same. When you level up, your audience will level up. Okay. So I want to introduce you to my free Facebook community. It's called the Brand Doctors Hangout. You could just search it on Facebook. It'll come right up. I do trainings like this quite a bit, 3-4 times a week. Or it's a podcast episode that I'm streaming live. And you'll get a lot of insights when it comes to branding, funnel design, lead generation, social media identity, really aligning your messaging with the right clients, tips and tricks, on how to create that connection between the clients that you love to work with and the clients that you hate working with, and helping you draw that deep line in the sand. Okay, so go check out the Brand Doctors Hangout if you want more of this stuff on a consistent basis. I promise you will leave there thinking differently about branding, and it will give you tons of ideas on how to level up your brand. Now, we also have the Brand Accelerator program, which is a done-for-you program. It starts at $25,000, and you can learn more about that through a consult, which you can get the link to that right there. It's uniquedesignz.net/branding breakthrough. Okay. And so who is this program for? I'm just going to be very, very clear with you. If you're a personal brand who's a humble action taker that wants to make the world a better place. So it's for all you coaches, consultants, service-based professionals, business owners, founders, thought leaders. These are the things that I look at in a great potential candidate for the program. You're committed to not being just another business, but truly standing out amongst your competitors. You want to help people, bottom line, okay? Either make more money by working smarter, okay? You're serious enough about your success to invest 25 to 50K in your business over the next calendar year. You're willing to answer the hard questions to dial in to your perfect audience's needs and expectations. You understand that growth isn't linear. It comes from both your successes and challenges. And you're excited and thrilled by the idea of tapping into the experience and insights of a 14-year veteran in branding who has helped countless clients grow to seven-figure businesses. Okay. Who this isn't for. Okay. If you feel entitled to success just because you started a business and aren't willing to put in the work to get there, not my person. If you're an info junkie who just loves to learn but never gets around to implementing, then you probably got a few untouched courses and programs gathering dust on your hard drive. Not my person. If you're not willing to put yourself out there and attract attention from the exact clients you want to work with, right? You're protective of your play small mindset and resist any challenges to that mindset. You insist on figuring out branding all on your own, even if it means delaying your success for years or even decades. I've seen that. Once people come through the Brand Accelerator program, they're like, oh my God, where was this 3 years ago? Right? And this may just be a financial thing. You're not ready to invest 25 to 50K into a proven process that's going to help you level up your brand's look, feel, authority online, which is going to help you attract those higher paying clients. Right? You get what you pay for. Okay. So just to give you a quick heads up, the Brand Accelerator program is a 90-day program. I've gotten it done in 60 days with very responsive clients, but it's on average a 90-day program. We do have payment options available. I understand that it's a big investment, and we do have payment options available. And then we also have a 10% pay in full incentive. If you wanted to, I have a few clients that pay it in full, and I give them a little 10% incentive in doing that. Okay. So are you ready to design a business and life that you're passionate and proud of? If you are, I highly recommend you book a consult with this link, uniquedesignz.net/branding breakthrough. And I just want to say thanks again for watching. And I hope you got some value out of today's trading. And so thanks again for watching, guys. I hope this helped you get a little bit more clarity in branding, how it's affecting your funnels, and how to learn a little bit more about yourself and your business and your clients so that you can start to craft the right messaging, the right image online to bring in those qualified leads, to bring in those clients that you really want to work with. So have an amazing day, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one real soon. Take care.